My ungrateful cousin threw a tantrum at her own adoption finalization party because the little boy wasn't the dream daughter she'd pictured, so the whole family quietly packed up every gift and left her standing there. My cousin Brianna is 28 and had spent 2 years in the adoption process. Our family never once made her feel alone in it. My grandmother always said blood shows up for blood, and family you choose counts too. Every appointment, every fundraiser, every late night call, we were there. So when Brianna got matched and a placement date was set 6 months ago, the whole family started preparing immediately. My mom spent $300 on a convertible crib. My aunt made a custom quilt that took her weeks of evenings. Even my uncle, who lives on a fixed disability check, set aside $50 for a gift card. The celebration was booked for a Saturday at a pavilion we rented. Brianna insisted on handling the decorations herself, which should have been the first warning. When I showed up at noon to help, I froze. Everything was pink. Pink tablecloths, a pink balloon arch, a custom banner in glittery letters. Welcome home, Princess Amara. Her partner, Devin, stood by the cooler looking uneasy. I asked quietly if they knew who they were being matched with. He shook his head and whispered that Brianna had convinced herself it was going to be a baby girl, that she'd felt it in her heart for months, no matter what the agency actually said. Guests arrived around 1. My grandmother came in her Sunday dress with a beautifully wrapped box. My mom had the crib in my stepdad's truck. 40 people, easy, all carrying gifts. Brianna worked the room talking about her daughter Amara, the beads and braids she'd do, the rose gold nursery on her Pinterest board. My grandmother's smile got tighter every time. Around 2, the caseworker arrived with the paperwork, and, in a car seat, the child who'd actually been matched with them weeks earlier, a little boy, almost 1, with the biggest careful eyes you've ever seen. Devin had known. He'd been trying to prepare her for days. Devin gathered everyone and gently said the thing that mattered, that this was their son, that a child was a blessing, that they'd love him with everything. Brianna took the microphone anyway and kept talking about how she'd manifested a daughter, how she already knew Amara's soul. My grandmother stood up and said, loud and clear, that Brianna should listen to Devin, that a child is a gift regardless. Brianna rolled her eyes at our 74-year-old grandmother in front of everyone and said Grandma was being dramatic. Then the caseworker lifted the little boy out of the car seat to introduce him, and Brianna's face collapsed into something ugly. She let out a sound I've never heard a person make. She grabbed the tablecloth and yanked, and my aunt's cake crashed onto the concrete. She started tearing down streamers, ripping the princess banner in half. Devin tried to take her arm and she shoved him. My 7-year-old cousin started crying, and her mom scooped her up and walked to the car. The little boy started to whimper at the noise, and the caseworker turned him gently away from it. That's when my grandmother did something I'll never forget. She walked to the gift table, picked up her wrapped box, tucked it under her arm, and headed for the parking lot without a word. My mom watched her go, then turned to my stepdad and said, loud enough for everyone, put the crib back in the truck. One by one, every guest walked to that gift table. My uncle took his envelope, my aunt lifted her quilt. Cousins collected the strollers and onesies still in packaging. Brianna stopped mid-tantrum when she realized what was happening and screamed that they couldn't take back gifts, that it wasn't fair. My grandmother turned around one last time. That child didn't disappoint you, she said. You disappointed him before he even got to know your face. When you're ready to be grateful for the son you've been given, you know where we are. The caseworker quietly told Devin she needed to speak with them both, because a reaction like that, in front of everyone, matters in a placement. Here's the part that saved it. Devin followed us to the lot, holding the baby, and asked my grandmother if the crib could go to his place instead. He'd already decided. The placement moved forward with him as the primary parent, with our family wrapped around them both. That little boy is walking now. He calls my grandmother something that sounds like Gaga and lights up when she does his hair. The crib my mom bought is in his room. Brianna still hasn't apologized, but her son has 40 people who showed up. He always will.